In a small, quiet town, two young girls wake up before the sun rises, their bare feet barely touching the cold floors of their modest home. Their mother, once the pillar of their family, now lies sick in bed, too weak to care for them. The girls have no choice but to take on responsibilities beyond their years. But one fateful day, something incredible happens, something that changes everything. Can you imagine how they felt when they walked into a billionaire's mansion, hoping for a little money to get by, only to be caught in an act of kindness that would alter their lives forever? Meet Lily and Grace, twin sisters with hearts bigger than the world around them. They live in a run-down neighborhood on the outskirts of town, where survival is a daily struggle. Their mother, once a strong, hard-working woman, had always provided for them. But after falling ill, she was no longer able to care for her children the way she used to. Lily, the more outspoken of the two, was determined to keep their small family afloat. Grace, though quiet, was the rock that held everything together, offering emotional support when their world seemed to crumble. As their mother's condition worsened, the girls knew that they couldn't just sit around hoping for a miracle. They had to act. One morning, Lily heard about a wealthy family in the town who needed help cleaning their mansion. The twins knew that if they could just make enough money, they could buy medicine for their mother and get her the care she needed. They had no experience cleaning fancy houses, but they were willing to try anything. With hope in their hearts, they set off to do the one thing they could do to keep their family together. When they arrived at the mansion, they were stunned. The estate was more magnificent than anything they had ever seen, with its towering gates and elegant stone facade. They were nervous but tried not to show it, knowing that their mother's life depended on the success of this one job. They arrived at the mansion and rang the bell, hearts pounding in their chests. To their surprise, the door was opened by a man in a well-tailored suit, Mr. Harrison, the owner of the mansion. He looked down at them, initially skeptical about their ability to clean such a grand place. But seeing the desperate look in their eyes, he allowed them to begin. The girls worked tirelessly, dusting shelves, washing floors, and scrubbing windows until their hands were raw. As the day wore on, a storm began to roll in, and the mansion seemed to grow colder with each passing minute. The girls didn't stop. They couldn't afford to. Just as they were about to take a break, the billionaire himself appeared in the foyer. Mr. Harrison looked at the girls, noticing their exhaustion and the tiredness in their eyes. He walked toward them, pausing for a moment before speaking. "You two should take a break," he said, his voice unexpectedly soft. "You've been working hard all day." The twins, surprised by his kindness, hesitated at first but then sat down to rest. Mr. Harrison walked over to them with a tray of lemonade and fresh fruit. As they sipped, he asked about their lives. At first, they were reluctant to share their personal struggles, but something in his eyes made them trust him. "We're just trying to make enough money for our mother's medicine," Lily finally admitted, her voice cracking. "She's very sick," Mr. Harrison, now understanding their situation, nodded. He stood up and walked to a large desk, opening a drawer. He pulled out an envelope, sealed with a wax stamp, and handed it to the twins. "Take this," he said. "It's not much, but I hope it helps." The girls, confused and overwhelmed, opened the envelope to find a check for a substantial amount of money, enough to cover their mother's medical expenses for months. But the surprises didn't stop there. Just as the girls were about to leave, Mr. Harrison spoke again. "Come back tomorrow," he said, his eyes sincere. "I have a better idea. I'm offering you both a job here. I could use people like you, people who know what it's like to fight for something bigger than themselves." The twins were stunned. They had come in search of a few dollars to buy medicine, but what they were offered was a chance to change their entire future. They left the mansion that day with their heads held high, not just with the money to help their mother, but with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The kindness of a stranger had given them hope when they thought they had none. Days turned into weeks, and the twins started working at the mansion, learning new skills and gaining confidence. As they spent more time with Mr. Harrison, they realized that his kindness wasn't just a one-time act, it was part of who he was. He took an active interest in their lives, helping them with their studies and even encouraging them to follow their dreams. Eventually, Lily and Grace's mother began to recover, her health improving with the treatment they had been able to afford. The girls were overjoyed, but what truly amazed them was how their lives had shifted. The kindness they had encountered had not only healed their family but had set them on a path toward a future they had never dreamed possible. It's amazing how one simple act of kindness can transform a life. A billionaire, once a stranger, had changed everything for two girls who had nothing but love and determination to offer. What about you? Can you recall a time when someone's kindness made a difference in your life? We'd love to hear your stories. Share them in the comments below. And remember, the smallest act of kindness can create ripples that change the world. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible tales.